In the everyday journey of life, we often witness the extraordinary, and sometimes, when we least expect it, these are the moments that make you wonder if you've stumbled onto a movie scene. Today, we'll go on a thrilling ride as we explore some incredible moments that have been captured on camera, proving that real life can be just as exciting as fiction. Join us as we have a look at some of the most incredible moments caught on camera. Dubai is a 122-pound dog who lives with Tracy McCoy and her two sons. One afternoon, while she was at home with her younger son Nathaniel and her two dogs, she heard a disturbance at the side door. She thought that it was her older son coming home, but it was actually a stranger who had let himself in. The intruder would be greeted by Dubai, who initially thought that he was a friendly visitor. He even stopped to pet the dog for a few moments before heading down the hallway. But when he came face to face with her, she screamed in terror, and that was the signal that Dubai needed to spring into action. The moment that she screamed, he realized that the man was not welcome in the home, and immediately turned around and began to chase him out. He bit him on the rear end and escorted him out the door. The intruder ran away as fast as he could, leaving behind his hat and shoes, and the entire incident would be captured by security cameras that were installed in the house. The footage showed how Dubai had reacted to the situation and how he defended his family from harm. All thanks to his quick and courageous response, McCoy and her son were safe. Some people can use very innovative techniques to discourage burglars, as demonstrated by one man in Chile who created a novel plan when confronting an attempted automobile theft. This event would be seen on security cameras at a petrol station. The video shows a man in the process of refueling his vehicle when three others appear from a van, clearly bent on stealing what was his. When confronted with his dangerous scenario, the automobile's owner instantly grabs the petrol that he was holding and splashes at least three of the robbers in the face. Overwhelmed by the surprise shower of petrol, the would-be robbers would quickly withdraw, escaping in the same vehicle they'd arrived in, which was also reported stolen by media outlets. Following this odd robbery attempt, the authorities who were in charge of the case against the would-be thieves admitted that, while they understood the owner of the car's instinctive reaction, they thought the move was ill-advised. Authorities stressed that the repercussions of such an action may have been disastrous, as one of the persons could have been smoking, creating a severe danger of igniting and subsequent explosion. We can all agree that dogs are man's best friend, but do these animals actually take the friendship too far sometimes? In this clip, a man has a dog to contend with, and his reaction will leave you rolling on the floor. But just when you would think that you've seen it all, the next clip will have you laughing even harder. Now, while most people may be fuming with frustration when stuck in traffic, one guy has a different idea. As cars crawl along, the dedicated individual decides to turn his vehicle into a mobile gym. Not content with only sitting in traffic, he pulls out a dumbbell and begins working out on his biceps and triceps right there behind the wheel.
He switched hands.
And the best part, he didn't just lift them once, he switched the dumbbell from hand to hand while ensuring his car stayed in a straight path. Onlookers couldn't help but chuckle at the sight, realizing he had turned his daily commute into an impromptu arm workout session. It's a display of the man's determination and dedication to staying fit. We've all had those moments when we hit the snooze button one too many times, but not this guy. He decided to seize the day, get those triceps burning, and make the most of his time in traffic. It serves as a reminder that sometimes all you need is a little creativity and determination in order to fit a workout into your busy schedule. So the next time you're stuck in traffic, consider bringing a dumbbell along and join the ranks of this dedicated road warrior. In Thailand, a man boldly approaches a jewelry store with ulterior motives. He pretended to be a potential buyer in order to trick the salesperson into thinking that he was actually interested in acquiring a piece of jewelry. His genuine motivation, however, was to plan a heist. With a determined method in mind, he requested that the jeweler exhibit numerous products while diligently seeming to be interested. The man selected a sparkling gold chain after having inspected the product. Seizing the opportunity, he then took the chain and slung it over his neck, pretending to put it on. Taking advantage of the subsequent commotion, he then dashes toward the exit door, aiming to leave the situation, but his daring escape plan would run into an unanticipated snag. The door was locked. The would-be robber was forced to withdraw in a condition of terror and humiliation, much to his own shame and amazement. He stood locked within the store, realizing that his ill-conceived strategy had failed, leaving him embarrassed and caught in a web of his own device. Soon afterwards, the police would arrive, reacting to the store's alert, quickly apprehending the failed thief. He would be handcuffed and ready to face the repercussions of his conduct. Have you ever wondered how crazy things can get on the road? Well, amongst incredible road moments caught on camera, we've seen our fair share of crazy accidents and jaw-dropping situations. But this one is really surprising. One driver, eager to escape the consequences of a previous collision, found himself in a jam. He collided with a car and decided to make a run for it. However, as if things weren't already strange enough, he then crashes into a parked bike. What takes place next is truly mind-boggling. In a scenario that resembles a bizarre mixture of a hit-and-run and a tug-of-war, the driver decides not to untangle the bike, but to drag it along for the ride. And the result becomes a spectacle that looks like a bike pulling a truck. It has to be seen in order to be believed. Now, what would you do if you saw a bear stealing your trash? You might scream or run away or even call the authorities, but what if you were not there to witness it? How would you know that it even happened? Well, thanks to CCTV, you can now see it for yourself. One such moment took place in Colorado Springs, where a hungry bear had decided to take away an entire dumpster full of tasty leftovers from a restaurant. The restaurant, called Edelweiss German Restaurant, specialized in schnitzel, a dish of thin meat coated in breadcrumbs and fried. The bear, apparently a fan of this delicacy, had been visiting the restaurant's dumpster regularly for weeks. But one night, he simply wasn't satisfied with just opening the lid and digging around. He wanted to take the entire thing with him. CCTV footage would show the bear breaking through a wooden fence and approaching the dumpster. He then stands on his hind legs trying to open the lid, but it's locked. And so he then pushes that dumpster out of its place, dragging it across the parking lot. And he looks around for a moment as if checking for witnesses, and then runs off with his prize. The bear managed to pull the dumpster for about 50 feet before dropping it and then disappearing into the night. Restaurant staff would be shocked and amused by the incident and said that they had never seen anything like it before, also commenting that they had hoped the bear enjoyed his meal, whatever it ended up being. Now, we often hear the saying that size can be deceiving, but what happens when a driver underestimates the size of a seemingly small truck? We get this type of incident, flips the script on our expectations. This confident driver faces a compact truck, assuming they can effortlessly maneuver through a tight space. But what unfolds will shock you just like it shocked us. The small yet resilient truck attempts to navigate its way between two parked vehicles, believing that it can slip through without a hitch. However, reality has a different plan. It's like watching a daring acrobat trying to squeeze through a hoop, and you can't help but wonder how this risky move will conclude. As the truck pushes forward, it ends up breaking the side mirrors of parked cars, and to everyone's amazement gets stuck. The driver has to be scratching their head, regretting the decision to underestimate the small size of this truck. A lady walked out of the Spot Sports Bar and Grill in Decatur, Georgia. She had just had a successful job interview at the institution and was overjoyed to have been employed the same day. The young woman, identified as KK, could not contain her delight and chose to celebrate her achievements right then and there. Instead of waiting to get to her car, she started dancing in the parking lot. She had been swept away by an indescribable sensation of joy, releasing a flurry of powerful dancing moves. Her energetic movements reflected her delight at achieving her ideal job. She had regained her regular composure after a modest though energetic dance and then proceeded on her journey. She assumed that she had been alone in the parking lot, but little did she know a security camera was mounted above her, catching every detail of her spontaneous celebration. Takara Spence, the lady who had hired KK, was surprised to find the footage. She was so taken by what she was witnessing that she couldn't help but share it on social media. She had accidentally amassed millions of views in only a matter of days. Her joyous act would rapidly become a viral hit, captivating the hearts of everyone who saw it. Now forget what you know about flashy cars because there's a horse in this Lamborghini. That's right, a brown horse. As the Lamborghini glides down the road, you can't help but do a double take. Not only is the car a head-turner on its own, but then you see a horse sitting pretty in the passenger seat. It's like watching an unexpected celebrity duo on a joyride. The shocking and eye-catching scene is a perfect example of anything that should be expected while on the road, a Kodak moment that you'll want to see to believe. So the next time you hit the road, you should be on the lookout, because you never know when you might witness the incredible sight of a horse riding shotgun in a Lamborghini. A delivery driver's job is definitely difficult since they have to not only deal with unusual scenarios, but also brave the elements like rain, wind, snow, and more. Regardless of the weather, they have to stick to rigorous delivery dates and guarantee items arrive unharmed. While it's normally preferable to postpone delivery amidst hazardous conditions, sometimes an employee will occasionally go above and beyond to fulfill the task at any cost. As seen by a surveillance video, a UPS driver displayed steadfast devotion to delivering a box across an icy alley. Anticipating the delivery, the recipient opens his garage door, instructing the driver to leave the item on the driveway, planning to retrieve it later. The determined employee, however, insisted on personally delivering the box to the recipient's door. The driver made every effort to reach the assigned door despite the difficult icy-covered path. And having stumbled and falling along the way, his commitment became steadfast. The recipient was greatly affected by the driver's unwavering dedication and admired his tenacity. While he clearly suffered a setback when he fell, his actions would leave an impression on his boss. If you're going to show a horse how to jump over an obstacle, shouldn't you at least be able to jump over it yourself? Apparently, this woman doesn't think so.
It's not that hard. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's easy.
Now, we all know that dogs are loyal, but sometimes their playful side can take over, and that's when things get interesting. This is not your typical loyalty story, it's a wild ride. A couple of scooter riders come to a halt behind a car, nothing out of the ordinary, and out of the blue, a pair of energetic dogs decide that it's playtime. The riders can only watch in amazement as the dogs approach, casting a shadow over them, but the real fun begins when the scooter revs up and then the chase is on. The dogs match the scooter's speed, turning it into a game of catch me if you can. It's like a classic chase scene from one of your favorite movies. However, this is the real deal. The chase continues with the riders and the dogs surprising everyone in their path. Onlookers cannot help but cheer as the scooter weaves through the streets and the dogs stay hot on its tail. It's an unpredictable and uproarious sight that even Hollywood couldn't script. This is one of those moments that makes you appreciate the spontaneity of life on the road. I mean, who would have thought that a scooter ride would turn into a doggy chase? When society wants you to be a janitor, but your spirit animal is a samurai. Every morning, delivery men all throughout the world set out to do the same thing, to deliver packages to their assigned route. This delivery man had no idea that it was Halloween, and the decorations outside his specific home seemed a little bit out of place. Nonetheless, the determined man approaches the house with a purpose, wanting to deliver his present as soon as possible. Little did he know that a pumpkin was under his feet, and that man trips over it and falls headfirst with parcels in hand. The unexpected part comes next. The man, enraged, then begins to hurl the parcels all around, releasing his fury. He then turns his attention to the ornaments, releasing his rage on them, and his reaction is completely unexpected by all. At one point, he appears to be about to stumble again, but he quickly regains his composure and takes a breather, walking back and forth, pondering the problem. It's as though he realizes the need to take stock of his surroundings before venting his rage on the hopeless pumpkins. The delivery man gradually calms down and lowers off his emotional roller coaster after a few minutes of this dramatic breakdown. In an unexpected twist, he even puts some money under the strewn presents, exhibiting a touch of charity in the middle of the mayhem. Imagine you're out for a leisurely ride, perhaps reminiscing about the days when your first bike ride was all about the wind in your hair and the thrill of the open road. Well, prepare to be astonished, because this is the tale of a pig that knows how to seize the joy of the ride. The video shows the pig perched on a scooter like a seasoned pro. It's as if the pig had been riding scooters for years with no cares in the world. The breeze ruffles in his hair, and he's not afraid to show his excitement, and he casually lifts his leg in the air as to say, "I've got this." As you watch this extraordinary joyride, you cannot help but wonder how wonderful it would be to experience the world from the pig's perspective. His carefree demeanor and swaying leg tell a story of pure delight. Whether you're a human or a pig, the open road is an adventure waiting to happen, and this pig on a scooter is proof that joy knows no boundaries. A 94-year-old woman had just passed away. Moments later, this police officer was caught on camera taking her money. Some people may think that goats are harmless and docile animals, but a recent incident in Colorado would prove otherwise. A security camera footage would reveal a rogue goat that seemed to have a vendetta against a local office building. The video showed the goat smashing two glass doors of an office with his horns, apparently for no reason other than pure fun. In the footage, which was captured and uploaded to YouTube, the goat appears out of nowhere and begins to ram into one of the glass doors with full force. Perhaps it simply saw its reflection and thought that it was ready for a fight. It didn't stop until the door shattered into pieces, leaving a trail of broken glass all along the sidewalk. It then briefly retreats, but then comes back for more, attacking a second door with even more fury, breaking it as well in the process. The goat seemed to be satisfied with its destruction and then trotted away, leaving behind a mess and a mystery. The employees of the office building were shocked and confused when they arrived at work on Monday morning. They just couldn't understand why the goat had targeted their office or even where it had come from. They would review the security footage and discover the culprit, and also notice that it was not alone. There were actually 3 other goats roaming around in the background. However, they never joined in on the rampage. Can you even believe that a 400-pound adult ostrich decided to play chicken with cars, causing drivers to swerve and swivel to avoid it? The road in question may not look like your typical game reserve, but that didn't stop a fearless 8-foot-tall ostrich from unleashing chaos. It's as if this big bird had decided to audition for the title of the fastest feathered runner. As the camera rolls, the ostrich dashes between cars, and drivers are left in sheer amazement. It's a sight you might expect to see in a nature documentary, but not in the middle of road traffic. The ostrich doesn't seem to care about the bustling human world around it though, because it's on a mission. At one point, a car makes contact, sending the ostrich tumbling to the ground. However, in a stunning display of resilience, it quickly rights itself and continues its mad dash down the road. These Swedish football fans decided to mimic the movements of the assistant referee while a football game was on. It must have really been a boring match. It was just supposed to be a simple walk in the rain. A rescue dog named Lily decided to make a break for it while her owner, Lucy Green, was buying her a sausage treat at a bakery. And what had made the escape even more amusing was that Lily was tied to a Coca-Cola flag, which she had dragged behind her as she ran down the street. The entire incident would be captured on CCTV cameras, showing Lily's mischievous antics and Miss Green's frantic pursuit. The video would then go viral on social media, attracting thousands of views and comments. Many people had praised Lily's spirit and sense of adventure, while others had sympathized with her owner. The video began with Lily's owner tying her to a post outside the bakery next to a Coca-Cola flag. She then goes inside the shop, leaving the dog alone for a few moments, and the dog seems to realize that she's not securely attached to the post and then decides to take advantage of the situation. She jumps and pulls the flag off the post, freeing herself from the restraint. Lily then takes off down the sidewalk with the flag trailing behind her like a cape. It's quite large and colorful, making her easy to spot even in the rainy weather. Her owner then notices her dog's escape and runs out of the shop chasing after her and yells her name, hoping to get her attention and make her stop. However, Lily is not interested in listening to her owner. She runs across the road, dodging cars and trucks, and then turns around and runs back to the other side of the road, still dragging the flag behind her. She continues to run up the street, looking for a way home. Her owner follows her closely, trying to catch up. Now, what would you do if you were a kid at a daycare center and suddenly saw water gushing into the room? That's what happened to the children at Future Stars Academy in Wentzville, Missouri, on a stormy day in May of 2021. However, they were all safe and sound in the end, thanks to the quick actions of the staff and the rescue team. The entire thing would of course be caught on camera. The daycare center had a CCTV camera that recorded this amazing footage of the flood, and you can see how the water had burst through the door and filled up the room in seconds. The toys, tables, and chairs all began to float like boats. The children and the staff were trapped inside, but they didn't panic. They simply climbed onto the furniture and waited for help. The staff called 911 and kept the children calm and happy. They sang songs, played games, and hugged each other, and they were so brave and cheerful, even though they were scared. They showed everyone how to face a difficult situation with a positive attitude. In Iran, a man approaches an ATM with the intentions of withdrawing money. His attention would be immediately taken from his efforts as a large jet of oil explodes from a nearby manhole. Confusion would wash over him because he couldn't understand why a flood of oil would erupt from the sewers, and when the spill changed into a wide pool of black viscous liquid, it gripped the man with fear, prompting him to pause between leaving the ATM and leaving his card and money inside. He found the strength to stay put after much debate with himself, nervously awaiting the completion of the deal. He didn't want to go too soon, fearing that the oil puddle might erupt into a massive wave, devouring everything in its path. While the individual was aware that he had cash in his bank account, he never expected to come across black gold. Following that, local authorities would quickly get into action, assigning a team of professionals to the location to examine the situation and begin the appropriate cleanup procedures. It's not every day that you'll witness someone riding their bicycle through the bustling streets of New York City with a suitcase balanced on their head, and no, this is not some Hollywood stunt. The videographer was navigating the streets of the Big Apple, and just when he thought he'd seen it all, he spotted a man defying the law of common sense. Instead of securing his suitcase in the bicycle's cargo hold, he had chosen the road less traveled. Quite literally, as he pedals through the city, his suitcase remains perched atop his head, teetering on the edge of disaster, and it's as if he's on a mission to prove that he's the world's best multitasker. Is he a daredevil? Or perhaps there's something more to this incredible act? Before we jump to conclusions, we should consider the possibility that he may well be an aspiring circus performer, simply practicing his skills for an upcoming audition. Nobody really knows. Perhaps he's just on his way to becoming the next sensation. One thing's for sure, he's captured the attention of everyone on the road that day. In this clip, the South African president struggled comically to put on a mask after delivering a speech on the importance of wearing them. Social media users would react, using hashtags online and sharing posts of themselves incorrectly wearing them. Despite mixed reaction, the president responded in good humor and even mentioned starting a TV channel to teach people how to properly wear a mask.
On all South Africans to wear a face mask whenever you leave home.
When you're doing the dishes and your mind wanders, you just may grab your cell phone and give it a good washing as well. But when your senses take a stroll back, you realize that you've messed up. The First Lady of Poland set tongues wagging when she appeared to snub Donald Trump, going for a shake with Melania Trump instead. Have you ever wondered what toucans do when they're not busy eating fruits or flying in the rainforest? Well, it turns out they have a curious appetite for traffic cameras. That's right, a pair of hungry toucans were caught on CCTV trying to chomp on a roadside surveillance device in Brazil. This hilarious incident took place on the SP-330 motorway passing through the southeastern Brazilian municipality of Campinas in April of 2023. The footage shows the two feathered creatures standing on metal railings next to the camera and poking it with their colorful beaks. They seem to be fascinated by the shiny object and try to taste it and eat it. The video also captures the reactions of the drivers who pass by the scene. Some of them slow down to take a look at the unusual sight, while others honk their horns or flash their lights. The toucans, however, are unfazed by the noise and continue their investigation of the camera. The video would be released by Autobahn, the company that manages the motorway, and has gone viral on social media. A representative of Autobahn said that it was the 5th time the wild birds had attacked one of their traffic cameras in Brazil, adding that they'd never minded the birds' curiosity and that they were happy to share the funny moment with the public. If you spot an Australian driver cruising in a Lamborghini like this one, an Italian sports car that's worth a pretty penny, you may want to turn your head to get a better view. This Lamborghini was produced from 2001 to 2010, and it's a true automotive gem. It's known to carry a hefty price tag reaching up to close to $1 million for a brand new model, and that depends on all the bells and whistles. It's the kind of car that turns heads on the road and for all the right reasons. But in this particular video, the driver and his passenger seem to be rewriting the rules of luxury car ownership. While other drivers give them quizzical looks, the Lamborghini is not transporting only luggage, it's hauling a trailer that's full of goats. That's right, goats.
This is hilarious. This is a $250,000 car. It was towing a trailer with goats in the back and bales of inside.
As the Lamborghini glides down the road with its V12 engine purring, the goats in the trailer appear to be the picture of relaxation. It's as if they're on their very own VIP tour, completely unfazed by their high speed and luxurious ride. The car that's typically associated with speed, power, and prestige has taken an unexpected turn onto the farmyard. This out-of-the-ordinary sight leaves us with a lot of questions. Is this a marketing stunt, or perhaps just the case of a car enthusiast who also happens to be a farmer? While the goats may not have a say in their choice of transport, it is a sight that'll make you ponder the true versatility of a Lamborghini. It's wrong to fight during a football game, but this isn't even a fight. This is a straight-up embarrassment.
Son los dos, Julio, ni uno ni otro, uno se está dando cabezazo, el otro da con la mano, este le pega una piña. Y ahora viene el puñetazo de Diogo, claro. El puñetazo de Diogo. Y el otro, claro, me da una piña, pues yo, a los dos. Hemos estado viendo como un Diano Mayenco le estaba sacando la roja a Luis Fabiano. Sí, lo que sí.
A man was patiently waiting in a police station in northern Thailand when an unexpected visitor slithered in. Unnoticed by anyone there, the snake quietly enters the building via a wide-open glass entrance. As the reptile comes close to the naive guy, he became instantly aware of its presence and was understandably terrified. The snake pounced on the chance and lunged at him, hoping to strike. But what that snake had not foreseen was the man's extraordinary skills in dealing with such a circumstance. He performed a succession of precise strikes to restrain the beast with quick reflexes, never allowing himself to become bitten. And once immobilized, he courageously seizes the snake's tail and head with his bare hands. Unsure of how to continue, he sought the advice of a law enforcement official who happened to be at the police station at the time. The police, apparently taken aback by what they were witnessing, asked the man to release the snake outside of the premises. The man then places the snake outside of the police station, displaying great poise. The entire interaction would be recorded on camera, which already received roughly 30 million views on YouTube. If you're on your way to work and your colleague arrives late with an unusual excuse, a massive geese family crossing the road, it might sound like a tall tale, but this video is evidence that you need to convince even the most skeptical HR manager. It's not every day you witness a traffic jam that's been caused by fine-feathered friends. The geese were not only taking a stroll, they were on a mission. A long line of geese, each sporting a unique pattern of feathers, had decided to exercise their freedom, and it's like they organized a parade in the middle of a bustling road with no intentions of yielding to traffic. Cars came to a halt as the geese sauntered along, flaunting their confidence and sense of entitlement. I guess a lot just happens around the workplace, and if not for cameras, we may never get to see it. This clip shows an ouch moment when a woman was set up by a coworker. Now, the next time that you're at work, be on the lookout for the broom. That's a free tip, and you're welcome. One silly tortoise by the name of Plawan made a rather cheeky escape attempt one day. You see, Plawan had a habit of trying to escape whenever he got the chance. He was curious and smart and knew how to push the sliding metal gate open with his head. CCTV cameras would record how he had made his daring escape. He nudged the gate open and walked out of the garden, and then crossed the road and wandered around the neighborhood. Cameras would also show how the owner and her neighbors would notice the missing tortoise and ran after him. They did eventually catch him and carry him back to the house. CCTV footage became a valuable resource of information for the owner and her family. It helped them to understand how he had escaped and how to prevent it from happening again in the future. It also served as a source of entertainment and amusement for them, their friends, and everyone online. They shared the video and it then went viral. One of the more shocking and unexpected moments on live television took place on New Year's Eve in 2019 when a woman grabbed Pope Francis's hand and refused to let him go. The woman shakes his hand so firmly that he slaps her to free himself during the New Year's Eve celebration. A child's simple activities can sometimes escalate into a major issue, resulting in large fines. This serves as a reminder of the need to teach children about the care of fragile artifacts from an early age. And an event at Overland Park in Kansas in the United States shows the repercussions of failing to learn these lessons. During an art show at the Tomahawk Ridge Community Center, parents allowed their 5-year-old son to get too close to a glass sculpture that was created by artist Bill Lyons. CCTV footage would show the youngster approaching the artwork, innocently touching it, and then it shatters. The parents had no idea the sculpture was valuable, and realizing their error, they swiftly supplied their contact information to the center's administration, intending to accept responsibility for the damages. Their surprise would intensify when they received an invoice stating that the sculpture was valued at a whopping $132,000. To make matters worse, the parents received a letter from the city's insurance company accusing them of negligence. Meanwhile, the artist sought to claim financial damages for the 2 years he had spent working on the monument, emphasizing the importance of time and effort in its worth. However, the parents questioned the security measures in place and stressed their inability to pay such a large price and are waiting for the city's decision on probable legal action. Romulus McNeil had a close encounter with nature's fury that he will likely never forget. On one stormy night in August of 2019, he would be walking to his car with an umbrella in his hand, unaware of the dangers that were lurking above him. As he crossed the sidewalk outside the Academy for Technology and Academics in Conway, South Carolina, where he worked as a guidance counselor, a bolt of lightning flashed out of nowhere, hitting his umbrella and sending sparks flying, making him jump in shock. The terrifying moment would be captured by a CCTV camera and then later shared online, where it went viral, attracting millions of views. McNeil said that he felt a shock run through his body and he dropped his umbrella as he hunched over. He then picked it up and ran for cover, thankful that he was still alive. Now, it's not a magic trick, but it surely looks like one because I don't think you'll believe your eyes when you spot a half car slicing through the streets with two joyous ladies hanging on. Having the time of their lives. This half car, perfectly sliced down the middle, defies all logic. It's not a movie prop, it's actually a real and functioning vehicle. As it cruises down the road, it's accompanied by two daredevil ladies casually hanging on to the exposed side of the car, enjoying every single moment of their unconventional joyride. It's a sight that leaves you questioning, how on earth could it even be possible? But logical explanation comes through when you realize that the car is front-wheel drive and the engine is still intact. I've heard things about taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, but this clip shows what it really looks like. The dog climbs up the stairs rather swiftly, but things get hilarious when it looks like the popular adage catches its leg. And this time, it didn't take 3 steps back. You can count about 10. Accidents occur all the time. Some of these occurrences will leave people perplexed and asking about the cause. Could it be faulty brakes, worn-out tires, perhaps seat belts and airbags, troublesome accelerators? They're all a few of the regular automotive problems that are seen on a daily basis. This specific instance, however, was quite unique. While driving along a busy street in Detroit, a young man managed to capture an unusual incident on camera. The video shows an SUV spinning in circles and even going backwards, all without anyone behind the wheel. The vehicle's owner could only stand by helpless and desperate, struggling in vain to stop the car's irregular motions. Despite her best efforts, she was unable to unlock the door, leaving her in despair as she pursued her fleeing car. Fortunately, a caring witness would be observing the dangerous scenario and stopped in to help. The man approached the automobile with haste, eventually shattering the driver's side glass. He entered the vehicle quickly, seizing charge of the situation and effectively halting the vehicle from its tirade of chaos. A stranger came in to help in that time of need, demonstrating humanity's fundamental generosity. For those that are not familiar, jaywalking is known as pedestrians walking in or across the road in violation to the traffic law. Since you now know the definition, this man decides to take a leisurely approach, choosing the path less traveled right in front of a passing car. While most people aim for a quick and safe dash across the street, this man opted for a more leisurely and audacious approach. With a regal air about him, he saunters across the road, all while casting a disdainful glare at a passing car. It's as if he's challenging the very concept of pedestrian safety. But here's where it gets truly funny. Instead of walking in a straight line, the gentleman decides to spice things up. He chooses to walk sideways as though he's auditioning for a dance move gone wrong. And then it happens, a moment that turns his leisurely stroll into a comedy. In a fast turn of events, he bumps his head onto a pole. That's right, he's so focused on the sideways shuffle that he fails to notice the stationary obstacle in his path. It becomes a classic look before you leap, gone terribly wrong. Ouch! Another slip. This one is even worse than the previous one. Prepare to see the most daring shoplifting attempt you've ever witnessed. At first, we see the woman entering the booze shop. She appears to be a regular client. She calmly strolls around the various departments with her purse in hand, grabbing the chance to take bottles one after the other. We see moments of doubt as the security camera captures her moves. She carefully considers whether or not to add a specific bottle to her increasing collection, pausing in one aisle, rummaging through the shelves for yet another bottle. The story, however, thickens, as at first glance, one could think that she was simply going on a stealing spree by herself. Upon closer inspection of the camera's footage, however, it would be revealed that there was the presence of an accomplice nearby. As her bag fills up, the person surreptitiously delivers her bottles, which she quickly hides under her trousers and even tucks beneath her blouse. Surprisingly, the daring woman stole a total of 18 bottles from the store, But to avoid drawing suspicion, she even went so far as to pay for a bottle at the register, as if pretending to be a regular client. She boldly departs from the store with her loot, seemingly unconcerned by her daring achievement. As the video unfolds, a triumphant smile adorns her face, showcasing her satisfaction with her successful heist. This delivery driver probably thought his day was going just fine, but a tiny detail had slipped his mind, that being the handbrake, which had caused his van to begin an adventure in its own right. It decided to take a solo journey downhill. The driver could only stand there dumbfounded as his van began its downhill escape, making an ungraceful entrance by crashing through his customers' unsuspecting wheelie bins. The loud bang of the bins meeting their ending was the first clue that something was amiss, and in a hurry he realized his van had developed a sudden taste for freedom and decided to give chase. He sprinted down the driveway after his rogue van and in a moment of comedy gold leapt into the vehicle and pulled the handbrake. He finally put an end to its wheelie bin bowling adventure, and that should be a warning to always remember the handbrake, because you wouldn't want your van to become the star of a comedy road show. Children don't just say the darndest things, they will also do them as well. Back in 2017, this video went viral of a little girl at the Invictus Games in Toronto. The event, organized by none other than Prince Harry, honors men and women who have represented their countries in battle and have been injured. In this adorable clip, we see a moment when a little girl who was sitting beside none other than the prince himself decided to help herself to some of his popcorn. The prince eventually catches on, although he was more than happy to share his snack with the little burglar. Electric vehicles have been a huge seller in today's auto market, and many of us are drawn to the possibilities of never having to pay for gas again. Companies like Tesla have made a killing from selling these cars. Now, the entire point of getting an EV is to move around without having to worry about buying gas, but even some people who have these cars don't seem to understand how that works. Just take a look at this guy trying to fill up his Tesla Model 3 with gasoline.
Oh, I hope he doesn't pull the thing. Okay.
I mean, you would think that he'd at least try to read the user manual for charging his car before having driven it away from the dealership, but no, the guy just comes to the gas station and winds up looking like a complete idiot.
Bro.
I think he'll figure it out.
Now, I know that there's a general temptation for most people to simply want to show up at work, do what they have to do, and get their paycheck, but it really doesn't hurt to have an actual, cordial relationship with the guys in your workplace. I mean, just take a look at these guys, for instance. The boys were probably feeling a little down and needing to spice up their day a little bit. And you know what? Someone broke into a dance number and everyone else followed. But that's not all. We all have that one friend that loves to get a little extra from time to time. And in this group, it appears to be the guy in the glasses. These guys are a perfect reminder that no matter how work tries to get you down, you should always take some time to strut your stuff. A small boy and his sister were immersed in a fun game of ball in the yard of a luxury villa while their devoted dog looked over them with a kind and watchful gaze. A disaster would take place, however, when the small child had failed to catch the ball, causing it to drop into the garden fountain. Concerned, his sister sought assistance from their parents, but the bold and adventurous youngster resolved to collect the ball himself, despite the possible risks of the deep pond. When the dog saw the boy's danger, it jumped into action, rising from its position to take hold of the boy's garments and dissuade him from his ambitious ideas. Guiding him away from the edge of the fountain, the faithful animal quickly found a large net and carefully scoops out the ball, returning it to the relieved child. The surveillance camera put in their garden filmed the entire episode. The child was unaware that they were moments from a disaster, risking a tumble into the pond and drowning. The disaster would be avoided, however, because of the dog's remarkable actions and protective instincts. No matter how well you play by the rules, sometimes fate can decide to surprise you. Such as with this biker who was patiently waiting at a red light, minding his own business. Everything seemed perfectly ordinary until a truck carrying a load of loose tape cruises past him. Little did the biker know that this seemingly ordinary moment was about to take an extraordinary turn. One of the loose tapes decided to take a detour, wrapping itself around the biker's head. As if it had a mind of its own, it pulled tight against his helmet, and it's like the scene out of an action movie where the hero was in a high-stakes chase. Except this was happening on an everyday street. The truck, seemingly in a hurry to complete its mission, had continued to pull on the tape, testing the biker's grip and helmet. It was almost as if the truck driver had a sudden need for the biker's headgear. Thankfully, though, he held on for dear life and his helmet remained firmly in place. It's a reminder that even when you're doing everything right, the unexpected could still come out of nowhere. There's always that one driver who thinks that the rules don't apply to them, and they've got the fancy car to prove it. The case in point, a BMW F10 driver who decided to challenge the simple rule of you can't park there. Instead of obeying the rules, he had a different plan. He set his sights on a massive concrete flower pot that was full of dirt. He would drive slowly and nudge it out of the way, but as they say, pride often comes before the fall, or in this case, a fender bender. As the BMW revved up, the driver's friend captured everything on camera, and with the concrete flower pot in its crosshairs, the driver put the pedal to the metal. But what happened next would be a comedy of errors. The BMW went off the curb, and its back bumper partly fell off, creating a loud and cringeworthy noise. Despite all the chaos and the mishap, the guy with the camera could not contain his laughter. They did manage to remove the obstacle, but now the BMW was in dire need of some fixing. Here's a quick piece of advice for you. If you ever find yourself at a stadium, always remember to be aware of what's going on around you. Because at any moment, you could be on the Jumbotron, and if you're not careful, you could get hugely embarrassed. Take this guy for example. A few years back, he had gone to a stadium to watch an Australian Football League match. However, he eventually got so carried away that he didn't notice when the Jumbotron came on and began showing people. He was only alerted after the entire stadium had gotten a good laugh, and just take a look at his face when he realized what had happened. Yeah, I think I'd definitely be leaving the stadium immediately after that. In Connecticut, a car carrier truck loaded with vehicles was cruising down I-95 when suddenly it met its match in the form of a seemingly innocent overpass. The clash between the truck and the overpass would be nothing short of catastrophic, a head-on collision that echoed with a deafening crash, leaving behind a trail of chaos and confusion. But the car on the upper deck of the carrier had the worst of it. Upon impact, it became evident that this car did not stand a chance. The sheer force of the collision was enough to turn it into a twisted heap of metal. It is the stuff that nightmares are made out of. Now you may be wondering about the cars on the lower deck, but thankfully they were securely tied down, preventing them from becoming airborne missiles and causing further mayhem on the busy highway. Picture this, you just saw a movie and you're inspired to try some of the moves you saw there. Now, come on, we've all done it before. The difference, however, is that while some of us prefer to do these moves in the privacy of our home, some people are completely unashamed and will do them in public, even if it means embarrassing themselves. Like this guy, for example. He appeared to have just seen a James Bond movie, and he was fancying his chances as the next 007. Honestly, the fact that he just randomly hit his leg on a door was the funniest part of it for me. If he's unable to move stealthily across a common hotel hallway, how on earth is he expected to take on villains in the leagues of Dr. No and Max Zorin? Something tells me the directors of the Bond films will not be too impressed when they see this one. There's still time to choose a different career path though, my friend. You know that feeling when you're walking down the street and get that crazy urge that somebody's following you? Well, for most of us, this feeling is just in our minds playing tricks on us. However, in some cases, you may just be right. This guy had the right hunch, and when he turned back, he found that he was actually being followed by a group of stray dogs. Does he pet them? Does he give them some food? Well, no, he decides to do this. Yeah, something tells me even the dogs said, well, we should get out of here because this guy's nuts. You know what it's like when you're so hungry and just hankering for a great cheeseburger, but one incident in a drive-thru took a hideous and jaw-dropping turn at a fast food place in California. Deputies would be called when people got into a road rage altercation at an In-N-Out burger. The video shows the entire fight where the two women get out of the front car and begin throwing unknown substances at the car behind them. Several people then exit the second car, which appeared to be a family, and they began throwing things back. This exchange continued on between the two parties, with some witnesses saying the substances may have been water, bleach, or other unidentifiable liquids. Employees and bystanders would be forced to intervene and make the altercation come to an end. In the ending, it was unclear what had began the argument, and no arrests were made because neither party wanted to press charges. Soccer is unarguably the most popular sport in the world. It might not be so much of a big deal in the United States, but you should really see how other countries take it so seriously. With the passion and fervor that many soccer fans put into the sport, you can imagine the devastation that they'd feel if their team wasn't performing at their best. And if you can't relate, then perhaps this guy can help paint a good picture.
Volkan Babacan ileriye doğru gönderdi. O noktada Hakan Çalhanoğlu.
Hadi. Tanrı'nı televizyon gibi bu televizyonu. Niye kapanıyorsun sen ya?
I'm not sure if it was his television set going on the fritz or if someone else behind the camera was actually messing with him, but either way, he was absolutely fuming.
İşaretini verdi. Çalhanoğlu.
Ananı yine gitti ya bak. Seda! Ya bu televizyon kapanıyor muydu sendeyken? Bir ses ver be! Lanetin çöktü. A**ladık televizyon bozuldu ya. Lanetin çöktü. Kudubet kare.
Gidiyor.
Aman. Geldi. Ananı s**eyim.
Think it was just the couch that got the brunt of this guy's anger? Well, guess again. It appeared that his team wasn't playing so well, and when things go to a head, he just keeps on getting more angry.
Senin onu avladınız Seda.
Şimdi Caner. Son anda Hakan Batı ayak koydu. Caner'le beraber çıkıyoruz. Caner gidiyor. Caner'den bir çalım.
And then the final straw that broke the camel's back.
Gökhan 1,5 dakikalık bir süre kaldı. Volkan Babacan.
Hadi abi hadi geldi vallahi geldi. Gel onu senin koyayım ben. Televizyon gibi.
Now, I don't think that I'd want to go to a stadium to see a soccer game with this guy. Can you even imagine the tantrums? In an unfortunate turn of events, a pizza delivery man was caught red-handed while doing his job. The event took place when a security camera placed in the lift of the building had filmed his movements, displaying a shocking act of wrongdoing. It shows the young man who is about to serve a pizza to a client relishing the toppings. He gives in to temptation and eats a few nibbles before quickly sealing the box and putting everything in the bag as if nothing had happened. It's unknown if the tantalizing and seductive fragrance of the pizza had led him astray or if he had simply had a sudden attack of hypoglycemia. Whatever the cause may have been, the deed proved to be his downfall. Such actions obviously have repercussions, and this incident proved to be the end of the delivery man's career. Perhaps he was unlucky by nature, or he was just simply dealing with the consequences of his own decisions. In any case, his actions would cost him his job, thereby ending his time as a delivery worker. Here we have a group of thrill-seeking bikers on the open road with engines roaring, and leading the charge is a relentless police officer with red and blue lights flashing in hot pursuit. It's a classic cat-and-mouse chase, but these bikers have no intention of calling it quits. Right from the get-go, it becomes clear that they're a one-way road to defiance, blatantly ignoring the officer's commands and making a speedy getaway. As the determined officer thinks he's closing in on them, one biker emerges as a hero. With masterful precision, he takes control, navigating his bike through a tight corner that would leave most of us white-knuckled. It's not only a getaway, but it's also an awesome display of the bike's agility and the biker's unmatched skill. The chase becomes a dance between the officer's unwavering pursuit and the biker's audacious maneuvers, like a high-speed game of chess, with each move a thrilling masterpiece. Now, we all know that one person who has a skill that they just won't shut up about, and every opportunity that they get, they'd like to show off their abilities. Just take this next footage, for example. Here we see an elderly man doing some handstands as he walks out of a convenience store. And to be honest, while this was pretty unnecessary, I think we can all safely say that it's still quite impressive. Grandpa still got it for sure. This next event leaves us scratching our heads. Could it have been an accident, negligence, or just a botched intentional act? Well, the scene opens with a Dodge truck, its hood unexpectedly pops open, and it begins moving forward on its own. The real head-scratcher is that we're still determining if the driver was behind the wheel of the runaway truck. However, what is known is that the driver of the SUV on the road was quick to react. With remarkable agility, they swerved to avoid a potential head-on collision with the rogue Dodge. While the disaster of a head-on crash would be averted, the aftermath would still leave quite the mess to be cleaned up. The front of the Dodge truck would need some serious bodywork. And let's not forget about the financial headache that the building's owner was about to experience, given that the truck had other plans in mind and none of them involved demolishing the house. Here's one that's sure to warm your heart. Delivery guys actually do a lot of work, and they're responsible for ensuring that your food and products get to you in a good time without any damage. Considering how hard they work, it never hurts to show them a little appreciation. Back in 2019, a woman in Murfreesboro, Tennessee decided to give back to a delivery driver who came to drop something off for her. As she would explain, she had known the delivery guy was coming that day, so she decided to leave out some treats for him. And the footage of him reacting to the treats was as wholesome as it was funny.
This Amazon delivery driver.
Hey, they leave this and that's and everything.
So I thought,
The woman who did it pointed out that it was her way of spreading some Christmas cheer, and she even encouraged other people to try it. And judging by the delivery guy's reaction, I think it's safe to say that this is truly worth a try.
That was better than she expected. Reporter Alexandria Adams spoke to the customer who says she just wanted to make sure the delivery driver's hard work didn't go unnoticed.
Children don't just say the darndest things, they will also do them as well. Back in 2017, this video went viral of a little girl at the Invictus Games in Toronto. The event, organized by none other than Prince Harry, honors men and women who have represented their countries in battle and have been injured. In this adorable clip, we see a moment when a little girl who was sitting beside none other than the prince himself decided to help herself to some of his popcorn. The prince eventually catches on, although he was more than happy to share his snack with the little burglar. When you think of places where you'd like to get affectionate with your partner, your workplace might not necessarily be at the top of that list. But for these guys, it appears that a little friskiness at work was just what they needed to get over a boring day. Earlier in the year, the video made the rounds on the internet, showing the moment when a couple appeared to have just gotten affectionate with each other. You can clearly see the two of them adjusting their pants as they talk and try to head back out like nothing had just happened. Now, according to reports, the lady had actually been a nurse, quite obviously given her attire, and she seemed to have invited her boyfriend over to the hospital for a little intimate time. This clip ended up causing controversy, especially when it was reported that it had been leaked by a security guard who had been manning the cameras that day. The guy ended up getting fired for his impudence. Here's a quick piece of advice for you. If you ever find yourself at a stadium, always remember to be aware of what's going on around you. Because at any moment, you could be on the Jumbotron, and if you're not careful, you could get hugely embarrassed. Take this guy for example. A few years back, he had gone to a stadium to watch an Australian Football League match. However, he eventually got so carried away that he didn't notice when the Jumbotron came on and began showing people. He was only alerted after the entire stadium had gotten a good laugh, and just take a look at his face when he realized what had happened. Yeah, I think I'd definitely be leaving the stadium immediately after that. Picture this. You just saw a movie and you're inspired to try some of the moves you saw there. Now, come on, we've all done it before. The difference, however, is that while some of us prefer to do these moves in the privacy of our home, some people are completely unashamed and will do them in public, even if it means embarrassing themselves. Like this guy, for example. He appeared to have just seen a James Bond movie, and he was fancying his chances as the next 007. Honestly, the fact that he just randomly hit his leg on a door was the funniest part of it for me. If he's unable to move stealthily across a common hotel hallway, how on earth is he expected to take on villains in the leagues of Dr. No and Max Zorin? Something tells me the directors of the Bond films will not be too impressed when they see this one. There's still time to choose a different career path though, my friend.